Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back here to review another episode of Fox's 24 Legacy. And you're probably watching this video and saying, Sage Valentine, you left us hanging. You did not do the review of episode 2. That one is coming, but I just watched episode 3, so I was like, doing the review of episode 3 will make me do the review of episode 2. Because usually if I fall behind, I end up not finishing the series. So I was like, I got my notes here. So I'm going to do the review of episode 3. So this episode is entitled 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So pretty much when we last left Eric, he was in the dark as far as communication because CTU went all because of, I believe her name is Mariana or Marina, Edgar's niece. She ran and told Keith that something shady was happening. Needless to say, Keith went and shut things down. Okay, so in this episode, Eric is in trouble. He's stuck in that police station, barricaded with this old dude and this young police dude. He tries to reason with both of the cops, but only the youngest cop is really listening to him. And Eric is able to convince this cop, listen, something's about to happen. I had to get this money because this big attack is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And needless to say, the young guy tells him about an escape route behind the wall. And Eric takes the 2 bombs that he strapped to each cop and puts them on the wall and blows a hole in the wall. And he and the young guy go running. So Eric and the young guy find themselves eventually surrounded by a bunch of like SWAT team cops, and everybody's got their guns trained on Eric. And what does Eric do? Eric decides that he is going to take the younger cop hostage. Which, I mean, I don't think that Eric was necessarily going to kill this guy. He was just going to use him as leverage, but still, it was a tense situation. And despite the fact that Rebecca Ingram called the police station and let, I believe that was the chief, know what was going on so he could defuse the situation, some of those SWAT guys were not about to put their guns down. And I was just like, dude, how many times do I have to tell you, put the gun down? Okay. So eventually the cops start cooperating with Eric and they help him get a car so he can drive on his way to meet up with Ben Grimes, the biggest albatross in the season so far. So Keith, aka Zoom, who's played by Teddy Sears, that dude is shady. Even though it was proven that he was not the mole, there's something shady about him. Never mind the fact that he played Zoom, and Zoom was crazy enough. There's something about that character that just isn't right. So Eric's operation becomes CTU's #1 priority. Now we see Isaac, Eric's brother, and he heads on his way to meet this dude. Little does he know that his girlfriend Aisha, played by Tiffany Hines, who was completely awesome in this show, Damien, and she was also in the Toni Braxton Lifetime miniseries where she played Tamar Braxton. She was also Jaden in Nikita as well. She has been in so many things. Tiffany's such an amazing actress. She ran and called the dude that Isaac is supposed to meet and basically set him up and didn't even try to warn him. And you're probably saying, why would she? I mean, despite the fact in the scene it seemed like she had a bit of a change of heart and she was going to say something, she didn't say anything. I'm just like cold as ice. So John, played by my man Jimmy Smits, learns that the Secret Service will be sequestering his campaign manager, Neela, and he learns it from Rebecca Ingram, who is his, I think she's his wife, although it's Rebecca Ingram tells him this, and he is not happy at all. He's in the middle of this campaign party, and he doesn't even want to leave the area. Like, he wants to be there, or at least within the vicinity, while Neela is being interrogated. Eric and Nicole are talking on the phone, and Nicole's trying to warn him, like, Isaac's girlfriend Aisha is planning to do something to Isaac. Something's not right. Eric is not trying to hear that because if you remember, there was something a little bit upsetting that happened between Isaac, Nicole, and Eric that led to Nicole running with Eric and going off with him, and Isaac was feeling some type of way about that, but Eric still feels some type of way about Isaac, and Nicole feels some type of way about the entire situation. And as I said, Eric is not trying to hear that situation at all. And we learn that, of course, Eric wants to keep Ben safe. But on a side note, keeping Ben safe in this series is going to get Eric in a hell of a lot of trouble, as it did in the climax of this episode. But I'll get to that later. So we get back to the scene with Amira and the high school teacher, Mr. Harris. And they're trying to deal with what to do with Drew's body. And the thing that we learn that blows me away is the fact that Amira is the sister of one of Ben Khalid's soldiers. So clearly this terrorist plot that she was planning is bigger than what I thought it was. So when campaign manager Neela is interrogated, she makes it clear that the person who mirrored and used Rebecca Ingram's IP address to get the information about Eric Carter's Army Ranger, I forgot what it's called. It's not a sector, it's not a group. Let me know what the word is, because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But anyway, she says, Neela, that she had no involvement with that hack, and that she was running at the time that it happened. So we see Mr. Harris and Amira cleaning up, trying to continue to figure out what they're going to do with Drew's body, because when we last left Drew had his head bashed against, I think that was the floor, and it looked like his head cracked or something, and he was just bleeding everywhere. But either way, this girl comes to the door, and Mr. Harris has to try to distract her and get her to leave, or at least come back later. And then we see that Drew got up and ran off. And I'm like, I thought this dude was dead, but apparently not. He was playing dead. And he made it all the way to the nearby soccer field and then passed out behind the bleachers. And if it wasn't for this black girl who kicked her ball a little too far, or the ball got past her or something to that effect, and she saw the body, Amira and Mr. Harris more than likely would have dragged that body away and would have been able to hide this crime or really kill Drew. But unfortunately, the girl yelled for her teammates and the coach, and needless to say, the ambulance and the EMTs and the police all got involved in this. So Mr. Harris and Amira are in big trouble, because when this dude wakes up, because apparently Drew is in stable condition after all that he went through hitting his head, he will remember what happened. And when he does, it's not going to bode well for Mr. Harris and Amira, which is why Amira faked like she was his girlfriend and climbed into the ambulance. Okay. Poor baby. Rebecca's talking to Henry, John's dad, and she tells him about the situation at CTU involving her IP address and Neela, and Henry already knows. So I'm sitting here like, how does he know? Unless, of course, he's involved in the situation. I was right, obviously, on a side note. So, Andy starts talking about how he broke up with his boyfriend, Locke. And apparently Locke is Branch Connolly from Longmire. He's one of the guys who was out there on the that mission with Eric Carter, and I think he's the one that got shot. It looked like it was either in his chest or something. I remember he got shot, and it looked like he was a goner, but I don't think he died. I think he might have had a bulletproof vest on. But anyway, I don't trust Edgar's niece, Mariana. Something shady about this girl. Yeah, I know Edgar was such an awesome character, but his niece, man, something about that girl. So Nicole is in trouble because Aisha knows that Nicole is on to her. She knows that Nicole must know something. And she tries to get Aisha tries to get Nicole to give her her phone. And I'm just like, Nicole, don't give this chick your phone. Don't do that. No way. So Eric ends up meeting up with Ben Grimes, but they have to go through this whole rigmarole, whereas Eric has to get on this train, and he's got to move to a specific car, and then he's got to move to a certain place, blah, 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 blah. So Ben tells Eric, listen, I will take you to the spot where I left the little key thingy. So as I said, we learned that Drew is stable, and that Mr. Harris was worried about them getting caught because Drew is going to wake up and remember stuff. And like I said, Amira lied and said that she was Drew's girlfriend and was able to hitch a ride on the ambulance that is on the way to the hospital. So apparently a video pops up where Neela is seen at the ATM at the exact time she claimed that she was running. So I'm side-eyeing her like, what the heck does all of this mean? Until I find out that somebody hacked into the system and changed the timestamp. And CTU cannot trace the leak. And as I thought he did, John's father, Henry, is a part of this and is willing to sink John's political campaign for whatever the heck it is that he is trying to do. And I'm looking at Henry like, this dude is shady. But then again, he was Gerald McCraney, pretty shady on Longmire. So why am I not surprised? Anyway, we're back to the mess with Eric and Ben, and I'm just like, I hope that Ben doesn't do anything stupid at the end of this episode, because he already almost got Eric killed once. So I'm assuming that he's going to almost get him killed quite a few times in this series. Ben is a mess. But anyway, Ben wants Eric to come with him to get a fresh start at some type of place. I'm like, dude, it's too late for that. You're involved in something, and these people are not going to let you just run away, and they know who you are or have an idea of who you are. This is not good. So Ben hands Eric the list, or at least I thought he did, but then this firefight broke out. And needless to say, Ben takes off running with the bag of money. Apparently, he still has the list. Eric ends up going after the terrorists, but they end up getting away with the list because they were able to knock down Ben as he was on the platform, and I think they shot him, if I remember correctly. So Eric is running after these terrorists, and of course he gets hit by a car, and I'm like, dude, like, you are a character that is different from Jack Bauer, but man, this show is truly living up to its name and calling itself 24 Legacy, because any character who has to deal with a situation as dire as what Jack Bauer dealt with in season 1 is essentially going to end up getting shot and stabbed and hit by a car and all this stuff. That's pretty much part of the legacy. And I'm just like, all that Ben Grimes had to do was just give Eric the list. That was it. That's all he had to do. That was it. But now he's opened up a can of worms, and all I can do is just shake my head. So, anyway, guys, I will be back to review episode 2, which is 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then I'll be back next week to do this on time. Somehow I fell behind, and I don't know how, but I had to get this video done because I was like, I'm not going to leave these people without a video review from me. I mean, I know there are other reviews, but they're not done by me. But until next time, you all take care. I love you guys. Bye, guys. Bye.